Quadratics page 17. I'm going to do problem 11. Problem 11 is about the golden ratio. The golden ratio for a rectangle has an interesting property. When you have a rectangle and you make it in the proportion of the golden ratio, every time you make a square inside the rectangle, you are left with a new rectangle which has the same proportion as the original rectangle. And then you draw a square again, and now you're going to have another rectangle which is the same proportion as the original rectangle. Okay? And the proportion of this rectangle is not a very round number. It's 1 plus square root of 5 over 2. And we're going to calculate that using proportions and quadratic equations. So first we're going to divide this rectangle up into two rectangles. One rectangle is like this one, the big rectangle. And the other rectangle is this smaller rectangle. So the smaller rectangle we put here, and the bigger rectangle is red over here. So let's put variables defining what the proportion or side lengths are. So let's just say that this side is 1, just to make things easy. We're going to make one side 1. And then the other side is x. Okay? That's for the big rectangle. What about this smaller rectangle? What are the sides for it? Well, we already said that the vertical side is 1. And then we can calculate this side by the fact that the whole rectangle is x. We named it x, or we called it x. And then we know that if we drew a square here, so this is also 1 because this side of the square is 1. And so what's left over here is x minus 1, right? So we have a sideways rectangle that is x long and 1 tall. And we have an upright rectangle that is 1 tall and x minus 1 wide. And we know that when it's the golden ratio that these rectangles are similar. So we're going to make a proportion between the smaller side of the rectangle and the larger side of the rectangle, which would give you 1 over x. And then we're going to do the same thing with this upright rectangle. We're going to take the smaller side of the rectangle divided by the longer side of the rectangle, x minus 1 over 1. And that gives us this proportion. And what we're going to do is we're going to figure out what x is equal to make this work. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to cross multiply. So we'll multiply both sides by x, so we'll multiply both sides by 1, and we end up with 1 equals x squared minus x. And we're very close to having a quadratic equation with 0 on one side. All we need to do is subtract 1 from both sides, and then we get a quadratic equation equal to 0. Once we get a quadratic equation that's equal to 0, then we can solve for x. What x makes this quadratic 0? Well, we can use the quadratic equation, the quadratic formula. So we take the value for b, which is negative 1, right? And we take the value for a, which is 1, and we take the value of c, which is negative 1. And we are going to plug it into the quadratic equation. We get plus 1 plus or minus square root of 1 minus 4 times negative 1 all over 2. And that gives us 1/2 plus or minus square root of 5 over 2. Okay? Now, square root of 5 over 2 is a number that is, it's bigger than, let's estimate how big it is. Well, square root of 4 is 2. So square root of 5 is like, let's say it's like 2.3 or something like that. So 2.3 divided by 2 is bigger than 1/2, right? So you can't, one of the solutions can't be 1/2 minus square root of 5 over 2, because that would be a negative number. And if you look at this dimension, x cannot be a negative number, right? So one of the solutions we have to throw out because it's unrealistic. The other one we keep. The one we keep is the plus square root of 5. Okay? And what do you know? That gives us exactly what we were expecting to get, the golden ratio.